Kelly Ripa has been lighting up our television screens with her infectious enthusiasm and humor for years. Display devices. Millions of homes have been touched by her charming personality, inexhaustible optimism, and sharp sense of humor. We have witnessed her build a lovely family, navigate a prosperous profession, and keep her marriage to Mark Consuelo solid and admired. From the outside looking in, her life seemed like a beautifully woven tapestry of happiness and success. One of Kelly's distinguishing features was her perseverance, which she used to gracefully and humorously navigate each challenge that came her way. She would frequently give us a peek into her life, but she would do it in a good light, highlighting the many blessings she had. Many found motivation in this meticulously constructed vision of joy and power, which served as a reminder that everything was possible with enough effort and focus. There was an implicit belief that Kelly's story would perpetually be one of victories due to her boundless energy and determination. Then something started to change subtly. Not in Kelly's on-screen character right away, but in the background noise of suspicious media comments, which are becoming more common. There was an increasing feeling of worry, but details were limited because Kelly has always been very private. The rumor wasn't your typical celebrity rumor. It was more substantial, heavier. As viewers, we had the impression that major events were taking place behind the scenes, a formidable obstacle that outstripped the typical demands of her prominent profession. On air, her grin appeared slightly more forced and her eyes slightly more distant for brief times. These were small signs, maybe only picked up by longtime observers, but they hinted at a deep inner conflict. Once a bright and joyous account of her life, it started to take on a deeper, more nuanced tone. It was a gradual dawning on me that the flawless exterior might be hiding a darker, more difficult truth. Then the day arrived that would alter the storyline irrevocably. This wasn't some planned, elaborate affair. The news, on the other hand, came down suddenly, seemingly without fanfare, but with an overwhelming force. Kelly Ripa, whose infectious energy and positive attitude are well known, made an appearance on live television. However, her customary radiance was absent on this occasion. A palpable melancholy obscured her usually brilliant gaze. Her normally beaming smile was fragile and forced. The customary light-hearted banter had given way to an atmosphere of extraordinary anxiety. Her voice quivered slightly as she started to talk, her normal vivacity missing in favor of a solemn, almost respectful tone. The normally rowdy studio crowd fell into an eerie silence as they grasped the immense seriousness of the situation. This was obviously bad news even before she said those exact words. Something extremely intimate and tragic had transpired. With a weak strength in her voice, Kelly continued to give the devastating news. There was no public feud hiatus or career change involved. No, what she had to say was about a terrible loss, a shocking turn of circumstances that changed her life in fundamental ways. Due to the intense emotions involved, the details of the devastating update were kept under wraps, but its impact was obvious. There was no room for dispute because the loss was so tremendous and deeply personal. Despite the lack of specificity, the details conveyed the idea of something beloved, essential, and now sadly, irretrievably lost. Our hearts are broken, along with her use of the phrases unforeseen circumstances and deeply regret to share, to convey a single tragic message. With the exception of the slight sound of audience members sniffling, the studio was completely silent. Her words resounded with a sense of finality as she spoke them. These were the remarks that validated all of our darkest suspicions. Sighing deeply and clearly crying, Kelly stared into the camera, her voice quivering with emotion, and spoke the words, "It's over." Those two words, spoken with such unfiltered pain, were devastating in their simplicity. This was more than just a notice. A lament is an open expression of a private tragedy. The broken dream and the irreparably changed future were just as much a part of the pain as the loss itself. A well-loved public personality letting her own sorrow out onto the national stage, it was a really vulnerable moment. A swell of sympathetic tears underscored the audience's united scream.